Welcome to another video from Demystifying Proposals, where we try and make proposals make sense. In this video, we're going to talk about color teams for writers, what to expect if you're assigned to help write a proposal. One of the first things to know about proposal writing is that it's a different kind of writing. Writing for proposals can be different than just about any other kind of writing. It's sort of like program reporting, except for that you need to be compliant and compelling. It's sort of like writing a term paper, except you're going to be very limited in what you can say and usually in how much space you have to say it. It's sort of like marketing, except for that you have to use the RFP's language and follow the statement of work. This presentation will offer the basics of how to write a proposal, but every proposal is different. So if you're writing a grant, the idea or the purpose is to persuade a patron to give up their money to support a cause. You use a narrative, you tailor the description to the idea of interest for the particular funder, often making some appeal to the value that you bring to the organization. For creative writing, the purpose is to entertain or educate the reader. Some organizational elements or structure is, either it's created from your imagination or it's based on factual stories or of events and people. The main characters are usually the protagonist, often a hero, and an antagonist, usually the villain, and the characters need not be human. Federal proposal writing, on the other hand, the purpose of which is to win the proposal, has to be compliant in accordance with the FAR or the Federal Acquisition Regulations, and a more compelling proposal than all of the other competitors. So we use these terms a lot in proposal management: compliance and compelling. And here are some definitions, but we do have trainings about how to develop a compliant proposal and how to develop a compelling proposal if you need to dive in further. So compliance means that you're answering the request for proposal or whatever the solicitation type is, meaning that you're looking at the requirements and you're using a proposal outline that's structured based on the proposal instructions or section L and the evaluation criteria or section M, and then the statement of work or the performance work statement, which is usually found in section C. You want to do all of those things to ease the government's evaluation. So if the customer initially asked you to give A, B, and C, then you should give the customer A, B, and C. No more, no less, no substitutions. Not A and B, and we think the customer really meant D, so let's substitute D for C. Not A, we can only kind of sort of do B, so let's offer E as well to sweeten the deal. And C, not A, B, C, and Q, just because it will make the customer happy, nor any other weird letter combination or permutation other than A, B, and C. The Shipley Associates metric for a compliance proposal usually gets you a win rate of 5 to 10%, unless the customer really knows, likes, and will forgive you. Compelling means you persuade the customer to select your company to perform the work over all other competitors. You do this with good writing and graphics. Good writing means you answer the specific RFP requirements and defend your claims with supporting proof or evidence. By defending your claims, we mean to clearly state the claim, what you're trying to prove at the beginning. Then define any controversial or ambiguous terms so that readers understand exactly what you mean. Or better yet, replace those words with what you clearly mean to say and can support. Avoid cliches like raise the bar or cutting edge or best of breed, best in class, world class. These are hard to define and they're hard to defend. So just avoid using them to the best of your ability. Do include evidence or compelling proof, ideally quantified information. So facts, statistics, customer accolades, awards, quality and performance targets met, industry trade studies, cost schedule savings. You get the idea. If you have a CPARs or you have program management reviews or award fee debriefs, these are all good things to be able to include in your proposal. Using multiple types of evidence leads credibility to your claim and is much more compelling than those who would only use past performance proof points. Here are some examples of how bad writing loses proposals. A failure to follow the RFP structure and instructions, i.e. compliance, means that you're not using the outline provided with references to M and C and L. It's very important to make it clear to the evaluators where to find the information they're looking for. Another example might be failure to focus on the customer's business problem. Write to the statement of work or the performance work statement as provided. Section C is what the customer is telling you they want you to do. Another example might be a lack of clear differentiation. You need to convince the customer why they should select you. Explain how your solution will improve the customer's business and how this improvement will be measured. Another example might be that key points are buried in your proposal. We use call-out boxes and other eye-catching elements to make your points noticeable. And then lastly, how bad writing could lose you the proposal is if the proposal is difficult to read. Avoid jargon or language that's too technical. Don't assume the evaluators are familiar with the tools and technology. Eliminate misspellings, grammar errors, inconsistent formats, and inaccuracies. Make your proposal clean and easy to read. Color teams. Okay, here we're going to break down what you need to do as a writer for each of the color team reviews. We're going to start with pink team. So for pink team, you're drafting. You want to use the products from Capture, as I said. You want to use any briefs on win themes and discriminators or Capture documents to create your drafts. Remember, compliant, responsive, compelling. Again, you want to write to every element of the outline, but not every section has to be written 100% complete. 80% is what you're aiming for. Again, if you don't know answers to your questions, ask. We do not believe in stupid questions in proposal management. Also, a reminder that meeting deadlines is critical to the proposal development process. If you're not going to be able to meet a deadline, you have to let the proposal manager know as soon as you know. First and foremost, the thing that you have to do is compliance. The outline will have been created to be compliant. Therefore, you cannot rearrange sections to, quote, tell a better story. The evaluators will be expecting to see the sections in the order of L and M. Also, be sure to use the correct font, the font that's required by the RFP, the font that's in the outline. Otherwise, you will not know if you're near page count. And then also use the RFP's terms. If they call it a program, call it a program. If they call it a project, even if it's gigantic, call it a project. If they use life cycle as one word, spell life cycle as one word. If they use life cycle as two words, use two words. Okay? It's very important. You want them to feel like you've been paying attention. The requirements will be different for each proposal. However, hopefully you'll have lots of previous examples of sections in a boilerplate directory. Leverage them. After the reviewers have done their thing, there'll be a pink team debrief. What you need to do as a writer is listen to the pink team reviewers. Ask questions if you don't understand something, but don't be defensive about your writing. It's the reviewer's job to question everything. It's the reviewer's job to behave like the government evaluators, and they don't know you from a hole in the wall. So they're not going to understand all of those things that internally maybe you understand. So review that slide again on how the government evaluates proposals, strengths, weaknesses, and deficiencies. And remember that the evaluators, the government evaluators, are going to read a lot of proposals. And they're looking for excuses. They're looking for negatives to make their job easier, to kick companies out. This is why we harp on compliance. It's the first thing they check. Non-compliant proposals don't get reviewed any further. And this is why you have to have everything in the same order as section L and M to make it easy for the evaluators. And this is why you use call-out boxes and other things that draw their attention. We want to make it as easy as possible for the evaluators to do their evaluation and find the nuggets that we want them to find. Immediately after Pink Team, review the comments from the Pink Team reviewers. Your job as a writer is to adjudicate the comments. You need to look at them and you need to decide, is this something that, yes, I can incorporate, or no, I can't incorporate it for whatever reason. If you have a good reason not to incorporate a comment, you need to talk that over with the proposal manager and the capture manager. They need to sign off on the fact that you're not going to be incorporating a comment. You can't just not include it because you don't feel like it. It has to be addressed as a group, because the same people who reviewed at Pink Team are likely going to review at Red Team, and they're going to ask questions about where the comment wasn't incorporated. So everybody has to be able to answer that question. You might need to find some other SMEs because there may be questions that they asked you as a reviewer that you don't know the answers to. And don't forget to block time off on your calendar to write and recover. Remember, it always takes longer to write than you think it's going to. You remember term papers when you were in college? Remember that. So the stages for the Red Team are pretty much the same as the stages for the Pink Team. You're going to prep for the Red Team, very similar to what you did for the Pink Team, except for now you need about 90% complete drafts. Make sure you use the Pink Team draft to start your writing again. Do not use what you submitted because the document was likely edited and formatted for Pink Team. Get the document from the proposal manager. Also, remember, always compliant, responsive, compelling. The instructions for the debrief are pretty much the same as they were, right? So again, listen to the Red Team reviewers. They are likely the same people as the Pink Team. Maybe they added a few more people because the document's more complete. They may need more people. And remember that the reviewer is putting on their government hat. They're pretending they're the government and they're pretending that they know nothing about this company. So they may ask you questions that seem like they're stupid. They're not stupid. It means that they don't understand something. If they didn't work at the company, there's something that they don't understand. So just think about it from that perspective. Immediately after Red Team, the number of authors often gets reduced. This is not intended as an insult to those who get left behind. It's that polishing works better with fewer hands. And we need to get the story into a cohesive whole. And that's easier to do with fewer people writing. So for those who still have assignments after Red Team, you do the same things as you did after Pink Team. You adjudicate the comments. If there's a comment that you don't think you're going to be able to address or you don't think is right to address, talk it over with the proposal manager and the capture manager. Reach out to other SMEs, block off time on your calendar to write. So the process for Gold Team is very much like it was for Pink Team and what it was for Red Team. We try and keep things very similar in nature as part of the proposal development process. But now you should have like 95% complete drafts. There may be some graphics being tweaked. There may be some very small holes in sections. Your section should be a page count, right? So again, use the right font, use the right styles so that your section, you can tell where you are relative to page count. As a reminder, do not use the draft that you submitted for Red Team to write your Gold Team. Get the Red Team, what the Red Team did, that document from the proposal manager. It's probably in SharePoint somewhere, and then use that for your Gold Team drafts. If you don't know the answers to questions, please ask. If you can't find that Red Team document, ask. If you don't know whether your sections are a page count, ask. That's what the proposal manager is for. So you may remember when we were talking about the overall definitions of the color team reviews. We talked about at Gold Team and White Glove, the number of people doing reviews gets skinnied down, just like the number of authors gets skinnied down when you get to Gold Team. Usually the document at this point is only reviewed by the capture manager, the proposal manager, whoever is in charge of the business line, whether that's an SVP, a VP, whatever, and maybe one or two other people, because you do not have time for major rework. And hopefully, if your red team went reasonably well, there's not a need for a major rework. After Gold Team, the proposal manager will take control of the document to finalize it for White Glove. Writers are no longer involved. The proposal manager may still reach out for questions, but hopefully they're few and far between. So as a writer, you are probably not going to the White Glove. The White Glove is usually limited to the capture manager, the proposal manager, the SVP of the business line, and maybe one or two other people, similar to the Gold Team, maybe even fewer people than the Gold Team. And there's no rework done at this stage. We are just verifying the changes from Gold Team got included, including any compliance things. After White Glove, the documents should be ready to be submitted. We know that proposal writing is very confusing and there's a lot to remember. I hope that this video helped you with some of those details, maybe solidified some things in your mind about how you want to write to proposals. We are demystifying proposals, and as the tagline says, our goal is to make proposals make sense.